to the morning mental workout. This is the new live stream here on YouTube. I am excited about it. We are going to learn a lot about the brain and how the brain functions and the beauty of the thing that we call our mind. I have been live over on TikTok, and today, this is my first day live here on YouTube, switching the format, coming over here so that people can rewatch the live in the event that they missed the live. And so it is day 440 for me going live. And what I've learned in these 439 days, soon to be 440 when I finish this live, is that the reason why adults can't hold themselves personally accountable is because it's neurological. I have been trying to figure out, and I have been going and growing and going. And then last October, last September timeframe, it was finally revealed to me that it's neurological. And the brain is amazing. It is the amazing organ that you have. But unfortunately, it doesn't come with an owner's manual. And as a result of that, you don't necessarily know how to use it. Now, neuroscientists will tell us what the functionality of it is, but how do you maximize and capitalize off of your brain so that you can use it every single day in order for you to become your best? And that's what I've been working on relentlessly over the last 115 some odd days, somewhere around there. It actually is even more than that. It's about 120, 121. And the reason why that is because when you know how to use your brain, then you have the ability to use your brain. Does that make sense? I know how to use it, therefore I'm going to use it. And when you understand the intricacies of it and the functionality of it, it gives you the ability to use it when you need it. I used this example previously on when I was doing TikTok lives, and it's this. Imagine going into Lowe's and looking at all those tools and then leaving, or buying them and then putting them in your garage or your workshop and never using them. And you just point them out. Yeah, that's my Sawzall and that's my ratchet straps and those are my tools, my screwdriver, my electric screwdriver, my impact driver. You just show it to people, but you don't use it when you need it. And the purpose of these lives going forward is to understand all of the resources that are in your mind and all the resources that you can actually use in order for you to learn how to hold yourself personally accountable and then use that accountability to become your best. So currently we're talking about cognitive bias, and there are 7 different types of biases. And today I will be discussing conformity bias. Now, this information I received some of it from verywellmind.com, so I want to make sure that I put that out there. And I'm using this information and combining it with everything else. I do believe that there's someone on the live. If you could let me know, because again, this format is going to be new for me. So I'm spending this week just understanding YouTube and the functionality. I've gone live a little bit, but now since this will be my primary source so that the lives can stay here, just want to check to make sure I clicked all of the buttons to make sure that we can all interact with one another. So we talked about conformity bias. I'm going to flip the agenda from what I was previously doing, again, working through things to see what's actually taking place. So conformity bias, what is it? Well, it's when you simply agree or conform with the opinion and behaviors of others when it goes against your own personal beliefs and knowledge. So basically peer pressure. Doesn't matter how old you are. It's me right now. It's one other person. Okay, thank you for that, Nola. So again, getting used to this format. So conformity bias is that you conform to the opinions of others. You're sitting somewhere, someone voices an opinion, and you just agree with them without really actually inwardly feeling that way, but you do it. And so what are some of the signs that you are actually having conformity bias? Well, as I mentioned, you vocally agree with others, but inwardly you disagree. So let's say I'm at an event and people are drinking, and everybody there says, yeah, well, when you drink, it makes the food taste better. It makes the food taste better. Nola, is that you waving at me, or should I wave at you? Let's see what's happening here. Channel activity, put user in a timeout, hide the channel. Okay, got it. Okay, so so I don't drink. And so now I'm at the event and people are saying, yeah, it makes it taste better. It makes it taste better. And I say, yeah, it does. It actually does. then I'm agreeing with everybody at the table, but I don't even drink alcohol. And so that would be an example of I'm going to agree because the rest of the group is agreeing, instead of me actually saying, well, I don't drink. So I just have Pellegrino, I'll have sparkling water, I'll have some tea or some decaf coffee, but I don't know because I don't drink. And even I did drink for like 2 years, and I didn't really ever drink with my food. Personally, I didn't think it tastes better, so I didn't do it. I would still have like a Sprite or something. So if I agree with that group because it's a business meeting and maybe I'm trying to get business deals, so I'm going to agree with them so they'll like Dr. Donna, and then I will be able to get the deal. That's not something that you should do, and so it's a conformity bias. You are literally going against what you believe inwardly, but you're agreeing externally. So, not sharing your own thoughts and feelings out of fear of being ousted or judged in a group setting. That's another example. You're testing functionality. Thank you for that, Nola. And so I have another example of this. So I went to go to do a follow-up visit with my primary care physician, and she's Indian, so she's Hindu, practices Hinduism, and she said, well, happy holidays. Oh, how was your holidays? And I said, well, I don't celebrate the holidays. I haven't. Yes, and that's a great example, Nola. When you talk, good morning, Darnetta. When you when now every time I'm with that group, I'm gonna have to drink and I'm gonna have to eat with that group. So, Darnetta, we're talking about conformity bias, and it's when you simply agree or conform with the opinion and behaviors of others, even though it goes against your own personal beliefs or knowledge. And so now I'm saying, what are the signs? So the second sign is you're showing your own thoughts and feelings of you're not sharing them because of fear of being ousted or judged in a group setting. So my doctor comes in, she tells me, asks me how was my holidays, and I tell her I don't celebrate the holidays, and there's this sigh of relief. And then we have this exchange about how she was saying the people in the office were giving her gifts, and how she was feeling like and she was the only doctor who worked through the holidays, and now she's got to talk about her religion and all of that. And it was just so much pressure, and it was making her uncomfortable. And I told her, listen, I've had soldiers from various different backgrounds. I worked with people. My daughter has a very, very good morning, Lola. How are you this morning? A very diversified client base as well. And so we have to respect all of their cultural differences. And we don't go in there like, oh, you want no shoes and we know about do this. And it's very much a respect thing. And treating people with dignity and respect is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And so as a result of that, we understand and we seek first to understand and then be understood. But when you are having a conformity bias, you will have that conversation. So like people will send me messages on Instagram to say, it's my birthday, tell me happy birthday. And I tell them, I don't celebrate birthdays. And it's not because I'm Jehovah's Witness. It's not that. I just don't do that anymore. Or they'll ask, recently I even had a request of somebody saying that their friend is my biggest fan. Could I do a video for them? And I explained to them that I don't do that anymore. I don't celebrate holidays anymore. So no, I can't do that. But here is something that you can do for your friend to make them feel special because you all do celebrate it. So I'm not about to bash somebody else for still believing in celebrating their birthdays. That's their personal choice. But I'm not going to say, oh, this is so sweet. Yes, I can send you a message. No. Good morning, Regina. I'm not going to do that. I'm absolutely not going to do that at all. So again, if you're doing that, you're experiencing confirmation bias. And then the third example is going along with the group that's acting irresponsibly or cruelly when you know inwardly this behavior is wrong. So think about Mean Girls, and I've had this experience even here recently, not recently, when I was with the Urban Chamber, and there were women that were older than me, and they wasn't feeling Dr. Donna, so they would kind of, say snide things if we were in the same meeting. I'm so glad you found it too. Awesome. And so as a result, they would say snippy shit to me, and because of their position, they would try to throw some shade, but no, yeah, they were teenagers, but they was 60-year-old teenagers. Old biddies is what they used to. And so it's how do you manage this when I'm just here trying to help and they're throwing shade and doing things like that, and it's wrong. And no one in their group ever said it was wrong, which is part of the reason why I left and didn't participate anymore, because I'm like, if I'm not welcome here, I'm not going to stay here. But myself, on the other hand, I'm not about to be sitting here letting people throw shade. And my daughter and I have had this conversation before. people will be in a group talking about somebody, and that person will show up, and both of us will say, "Oh, now that they're here," and then we'll bring up what was said, and then everybody looking at us like, "That's not what you do. You talk stuff to them while they're not here, but then you don't, or you just bash them, and that's just confirmation bias." So fitting in. So doing this is actually making you not be who you actually are. And it's not allowing you to express your true thoughts. And it also leads to groupthink. Now, why would you do that? Okay, that's great, Kevin. Welcome. So, why would you do that? Why would you have conformity bias? Would anybody like to chime in? And so, as Kevin, as you just got here, and Regina, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it. So, when you simply agree, conformity bias is when you simply agree or conform with the opinions and behaviors of others, even when it's against your own personal beliefs and knowledge. You want to be liked. That's a very good answer, Nola. Yes, you want to be liked. So as a result, you want people to believe that you are this person that you say that you are, and it doesn't matter. Unaccountable people love for you to have conformity bias because it's usually the alpha, the person in the group that's leading the group. Everybody has to conform to what it is that they want to do. Now, growing up, I've been a leader my whole life, and parents just resonated with me. And people would want to go out, and their family would say, "Well, is Donna going?" They would say, "No." They would say, "Well, then you can't go because she's not. She's gonna make sure you don't get in no trouble. But if you go with somebody else, I'm liable to have to pick you up from somewhere. So no, you cannot go." And people knew if I'm going, we're not about to do no dumb stuff. This is not about to happen. I'm not about to be not going in stores, stealing a bunch of stuff, see we get away with. That's not going to happen. So if people knew that they wanted to go do something that was wrong, they didn't invite me. I heard about it after the fact. I'm like, mm-mm. One time, Winkleman's, I used to have to go to the mall all the time and get my mother's stockings. Give me some pantyhose. You go into the store, get some pantyhose. So people knew if I was using my mother's car, oh, we must have to go to Northland Mall to get your mother's stockings before we can go anywhere. I said yes. So one time I just went by myself to get the stockings, and I walked out the store with the stockings, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got these stockings. I didn't pay for them." So I go back in the store. I tell the woman, my bad. I did not realize these were in my hand, and I pay for them. And I go tell my friends the story, and they like, "Man, why? Well, you was all the way out the store. Why would you go back and pay for the stockings?" I was like, "Cause I'm not a thief. That's why I went back to pay for the stockings." So then I got ridiculed because I was all the way out the store. I think it was like $12 or something for the stockings, but I got shamed for going to do the right thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing. People be trying to go do slick shit. They was doing stuff with banking and credit card. I'm like, let me out the car. I'm not doing this. I don't have no conformity bias. I will no. And it's not even a matter of snitching. It's like I got too much to lose, especially once I had an ROTC scholarship and I was a commissioned officer. I'm like, nope, not doing any of this. So how do you overcome the bias? So you focus on being the real you, your own values, your own beliefs, and you're open to dialogue and diversity. That's how you do it. So right now, go ahead and share a time when you actually conformed and a time when you didn't conform. So the first thing that you're going to share, I hope statute of limitations on some stuff. So some stuff you might not want to share. If there could be some legal consequences, don't share that. But a time when you actually had conformity bias. So you agree with others while you inwardly disagreed. You didn't share your actual feelings because of being judged, or you did something that was wrong towards another person so that you could fit in with the group. That's the first thing. So go ahead and tell the truth about a time when you had conformity bias. And when I was married, I had a lot of conformity bias. I bought a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have bought and made decisions that I should not have made because my ex-husband was the head of the house. Yep. Oh, so you could take your messages back. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. I'm okay with this format, even though my shirt is backwards. Um, that's the only thing. But I'm quite calm over here. I feel at peace with this format. I used to fill in the back of my eyebrows when I saw Mary Kay, and at the beginning, literally have TikTok video, I mean YouTube videos with the back of my eyebrows filled in because people said, "Wow, Stole the car. That's big, Kevin. You went, whoo, okay. So I filled in the back of my eyebrows for a very long time because I have Abe Lincoln, I have my father's eyebrows. So I filled those in because everybody kept saying, you need to fill your eyebrows in. You need to fill your eyebrows in. I did that. I can't rely to others' comments. You can't relate. Did you mean rely, Darnetta? But you didn't back down. That's correct. Oh, wow. Regina, man. You can't comment on. I can't rely to others' comment. I wasn't willing to be fake to get more availability. Right. Exactly. I agree with that as well. Um, yes. So the point is that conformity bias, as you all continue to talk and say what you're doing, is that the reason why you do it is because of acceptance, not conforming, choosing not to be with these people. Long time ago, I was a young thing. Yes, and it's okay when you did it. I mean, it's not a matter of when it happened, it's that it happened, and now you can understand why it happened. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And history will repeat itself unless you assess what happened so that you can do something differently. I'll use myself again. So I worked at Frito-Lay and we won some awards. And so we had a Boeing ski mountain. Boeing, yeah, Boeing. I think that's what it's called. Boeing Mountain. I forgot. It's been many years. And so what happened was everybody wanted to go. We had to do group activities and then we had to do other activities. And so when we had our own personal time, I went to the spa and had a massage and everything, and everybody else went to go do all these group activities. Now I did have to do snowmobiling because then we had lunch and had to do our thing. But even when we were doing off-site, so people would go off-site. I was working on my doctorate at the time. I'd bring my books. They'd go out for lunch. I'd be sitting in the conference room doing my thing because I'm like, I need to finish this degree. I don't have time to be chit-chatting and going and do dumb stuff. And to be honest, I was the only African American, and so if you go do dumb stuff and you're with a bunch of European Americans and something goes left, the person, the scapegoat, is going to be one of these things that's not like the other. So I'm like, nah, I'm not. And social media wasn't that prevalent back then. I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to my room. I'm not doing this. If I didn't get it done, was forced to play golf. Again, we get to the 19th hole, everybody's tying one on. I'm like, nope, we good. Can I leave? Okay. Like, you're not gonna get promoted because no, I am gonna get promoted because my numbers are better than y'all's. So y'all got to do this because your numbers don't look like mine. So my results speak for themselves. So I'm gonna be out because this right here is not gonna bode well. And somebody gonna have a little bit too much and say some off-color stuff, and then I gotta ask myself, do I want to go to 72-hour hold somewhere? So also pretending I liked the movie Frozen in the 6th grade to be in a friend group, and you did, and you hated the movie. And when I found out you did that, I was pissed at you. I remember that. And Nola is my daughter. I so remember that. I was like, why are you lying to these people? You can't comment on others in the group like we did on TikTok. Why not, Darnetta? Yes, perceived as antisocial. And I don't like the fact that introverts, and I have a video that says extroverts need to be extroverts, introverts need to be introverts, and we don't have to make the other group feel bad because that group is different than us. So I've seen it before. Introverts are like, dang, yeah, the extroverts over there. And I'm a social introvert. So you can get about 2 to 3 hours of me outside or something, and then I'm done. I'm not trying to stick around. I usually am bored at that point, and I'm ready to go do something else. So that, yeah, and so things that made things complicated. And like you said with me, that's correct. So like you said with me, Nola, I'm sitting up here. I will, if I had to lie and say, yeah, food, drink, alcohol tastes so much better with food, and now they're gonna be asking, well, hey, well, what's your favorite wine? Do you like Sauvignon Blanc? And I'm like, what? No, not really. I like red wine. Yeah, red wine. I have a friend that would say negative things about my belief, and I put up with it for so long. Yes. And that's the other thing, too. A lot of these confirmation biases, conformity biases, thank you for bringing that up, Darnetta, because in order for me to stay connected to my family, I had to conform as best as I could. And then finally, we know after Slapapalooza, Cinco de Slapo on November 5th. This May 5th, 2022, that was the end of that. But the conforming, and it's like, if you come over here, you got to eat our food. These are the holidays that we celebrate, and this is how we do it. And we're not doing anything that you want to do. If you want to be with us, this is how it goes. And so it was I stayed probably 20 years too long connected to my family, but this family is important. It's important. And so now you find yourself doing things. When I stopped eating pork, oh my God, in 1991, oh my God. So is you Muslim now? What's wrong with you? Don't you understand the value of pork? What you mean you ain't eating? And the turkey bacon wasn't readily available back then. So you had to really go to different restaurants and search for turkey sausage and everything. And then when I chose not to drink, coming from a long line of alcoholics, that was a whole nother different thing. It's like, nah, she don't drink. She a little teeter-total over there. She don't drink. Nah, she don't like to have no fun. She ain't gonna drink. Don't offer her nothing. She don't drink. Nah, she saved. No, ain't got nothing to do with that. Look at y'all. This is the reason why I've chosen not to engage. If your grandmother, your maternal grandmother, and your father dies cirrhosis of the liver, you kind of like, I'm good. I wouldn't do that. But the opposite, in high school, I got exposed to Yu-Gi-Oh! And learning to play that was actually fun. So I think sometimes people can expose you to new things and you like it. And that's the whole point, is how to overcome it. It's because then you learn something new, because you technically weren't supposed to be sitting at that table playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the people at that table were not the same gender as you, nor were they the same ethnicity as you. Darnetta, when I talk to him today, I would tell him to stop, or I would not talk to him anymore. It's disrespectful. I don't shame his beliefs. Exactly, Darnetta, 100%. You have that conversation because it is necessary. And the thing about it is, and we talked about this, is that people literally will make fun of things that they don't understand. And the reason why they do it is because it makes them uncomfortable. So when you find people flaming on you and people say, you can't take a joke, you too damn sensitive, look how sensitive you are. It's better to ask a question and understand what difference does a difference make. But when they don't understand it, because of their low working memory, it's not really high functioning, they're just going to make fun of it, because unaccountable people say, if I don't like it, I can make fun of it. If you're different than me, I can make fun of you, because they want you to conform. So everybody can be exactly the same, and they don't have to think differently. They don't have to do anything differently, and everybody is exactly the same. But then they're always looking for something exciting to do. Well, if you would just embrace diversity, then maybe you wouldn't have to keep going skydiving. You could just have a conversation with somebody that's different than you. Regina, I understand staying too long and not eating pork. I'm sure they thought you were crazy. Families sometimes don't get it. They actually don't. They actually, to their own detriment, and they will literally be taking medication, eating all the wrong things. And my mother, I'll tell you all a quick story. My grandfather was epileptic. As soon as he stopped drinking, he had no more seizures. My mother inherited that from him. And they were both clean and sober at one point, her and my stepfather. And then at some point when I was gone and came back, they both started drinking and using different things again. And so she literally started back drinking again and now has seizures and will take seizure medicine and still will drink. Like I'm like, I'm not taking care of you. I'm not. Because this is 100% preventable. Your father stopped. He lived to be 93 years old, stopped drinking cold turkey, and had that seizure again. But because of her spouse and his side of the family drinks a lot, she's just taking medicine and drinking, and now she can't even drive anymore because of the seizures, and still won't stop drinking or doing that. Nola, you said wish you had YouTube back then, because I would have just pulled up a video of a pig eating video. I seen it on my farm videos and would have shut them up. Yes, we'll drink with the seizure medicine as well. So that's what's happening with that. That confirmation bias will lead you to being broke, being unhealthy, being in toxic situations, because you want to be liked and because you want to be loved. But if people actually respect you and they actually love you, then they will want what's best for you. So some of the real leader principles that you can use to overcome your conformity bias is this. Embrace diversity. When people don't look like you, think like you, act like you, or behave like you can actually ask questions. And people, for the most part, are open to you asking them questions about what they do, and not like accusatory. Why you don't eat no damn pork? No, that's not it. No. So what made you stop eating pork? What was that? What was that? Just a health choice? And now they will understand why I made the choice. And the reason why I made the choice is because my friend Tia Swindle was Hebrew and they didn't eat pork. And when she told me about the waste and that they secrete waste and eat their own waste and all the things that were bad about pigs, then I said, ooh, okay, that's no bueno for me. I even went vegetarian for 1 year, but then the army didn't have they didn't have vegetarian options for MREs, and later they had kosher MREs, so I did have to incorporate chicken back into my life. So embrace diversity, flaws and all. Understand what makes people think, what makes people tick, and it gives you the ability to take on some of those things, those characteristics and traits, apply them to your life because you can become better. You actually can become better. We just had a client maybe about 6 months ago, and she's a Korean. And I thought my daughter had Korean food before, but she hadn't. And because we were doing so much work at the client's house, she was like, I gotta feed you, I gotta feed you. And so we sat down, we had some bulgogi and some kimchi and rice, and my daughter loved it. And that was her first experience. And so to have that experience with her while she was experiencing a diverse culture, it was just a good thing. And my daughter's a foodie, even though she's tiny. She loves food. And so having all of those different experiences makes you a more well-rounded person. And as you sit down and have a meal with someone, you get to know that person and you get to understand them. But if your conformity bias is, kimchi stink, I'm not about to eat kimchi. Now, what is that? Bulgogi, how you spell that? No, nope, I don't want any of that. Then you miss out on having a different cultural experience. Be honest. I tell people I don't drink and people ask me why. Then I tell them, I explain, I come from a long line of druggies and alcoholics, and so I don't do that. Now, one thing I did do, or when I was going to networking events, in theory, or networking events, is I would ask for Pellegrino in a glass with a stem. Because if you're standing with people who are drinking and you standing there with that glass that looks like soda, now they don't know if you're an alcoholic or you're a teetotaler, you're a Bible thumper, holy roller, or what. And so it makes them uncomfortable. And just because I'm choosing to not drink, it is not my intent for people who can drink responsibly to feel bad. So I started asking for Pellegrino in a glass with a stem. It looks like I'm just the wine glass in and of itself is a happy medium. I have what I want in my glass. They have what they want in their glass. And then we can continue to meet or do whatever it is that we need to do. So how can I respect the situation that's taking place without slapping shot glasses out of people's hands and telling them you're going to hell in the handbasket for that doggone glass of red wine you have? You shouldn't be drinking no Crown Royal. You did. That's not for me to say. That's a personal choice that people make. Everybody has free will. So sometimes you do it and you understand how can this work for everybody that's involved. I know spouses, one spouse drinks, the other spouse doesn't drink. And that's personal choices that they make. That person always has a designated driver, so they'll always be safe. But you have to be honest about who you are all the time. And if you want to update something about you, I ate pork up until 1991 and I stopped eating pork. I don't eat pork anymore. It is a personal choice. And I'm okay with it. I initially used to miss ham, but then I realized I don't even, and part of it, my mother made, she's a terrible cook. So I hated pork chop. Everything she cooked with pork was worse than poultry. So that's part of the reason why I was like, yeah, I'm good. The next one is listen. Listen. You've heard this before. You have 2 ears and one mouth, so listen twice as much as you talk. And listen is 2 principles of real leadership. It's so important. I left it there twice. When you listen to why people are making choices and the things that they're doing, you can't have a bias if you're listening. It's impossible for you to be listening to what they're saying honestly and then say, yeah, fuck that. We're not doing that. Mm-mm. So you have to listen and seek first to understand and then be understood. All of us are different. We all got different fingerprints, different DNA. And yes, some of us are connected, but we could say, yep, you was there. That's your fingerprint. That's your spit over there. So, yep, you're the person who did that. Listen to what people are saying, not just hearing it, but comprehending it, and then handle conflict when it occurs. When you have conformity bias, you don't handle conflict. There is no difference of opinion because there's only one opinion and you go along to get along. But conflict just means that something needs to change. Something needs to change. And when you have conflict, you sit down, you let everybody have conversations, and then you strive for win-win. What is the best case scenario for everybody involved? What does that look like for all of us? And then when you have win-win, it's solved. It's fix it forever, and you don't have to have that conflict. And when you have like-minded people, in our case, people who hold themselves personally accountable, you actually can handle more, get more done, and be high functioning and be at your best. But when you have unaccountable people there, their amygdala, if you have conflict and you try to resolve that conflict with an unaccountable person, they're going to get a hijacked amygdala, start fighting, getting ready to just act a doggone fool, and nothing is going to get resolved. And that's why I say you can only connect with people who are holding themselves personally accountable when you decide to be personally accountable. I said stuck people can stick together and growth-minded people can grow together. But if you got a stuck person and a growth-minded person, it's not going to work because they're going to want to stay here and you're going to want to grow up there. So you have to handle those conflicts. People ask me, do I push this belief on your children? Can you qualify that, Lola? What are you saying? Are you so I want to understand what you're saying. Active listening. Yes, Regina, that is correct. It is that you need active listening. So you type in some more, Lola, so I can understand what you're saying. I'm gonna move on to the next one. If you don't know, ask. Like I don't know right now. I want to clarify before I respond to what Lola is saying. So if you don't know, ask. That's another principle of real leadership. Instead of assuming, instead of using somatic markers to say, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, you don't. Until you actually ask the person, you can only assume. You can make some best guess scenarios, but that may not be the case at all. And you can be completely wrong. So if you don't know, ask instead of just assuming. Everybody's sitting over there like, yeah, Dr. Don thinks she the shit and we don't like her. And then you go over there and find out, oh, wow, she's an amazing person. She had a big old heart. She'll give you the shirt off her back to help you get to your next level. But if you just look at me, everybody just thinks they know. And now you have no idea what you're talking about. And you'd be wrong. Okay, you got to take risk. So a risk a day keeps the fear away. A risk a day keeps the fear away. When you take risk, you are going to keep the fear away because you can't take a risk and be afraid at the same time. Can't be in fear and in risk at the same time. Plus, taking risk is going to increase your faith because you're saying, I'm about to do this thing and this thing is going to work out. And even if it doesn't work out, I'm going to have learned a lesson. Somatic markers are basically things that you use to put stuff together. So the brain will take information and put it together and say that this is the story. Oh, I don't eat pork. I got it now. I understand. Now I get it. So if you see me, so here's a somatic marker for you, Regina. And I don't know what's going to trigger YouTube or not. So people will look at me right now, and because I am African American, they will consider me black. That's their somatic marker. And I'm of middle age and I have a brain t-shirt on. So they will say, oh, she got a brain t-shirt on. She black. She got the headband on. She must be a life coach. So that's taking what you see and then putting those context clues together and saying that this must be who I am. And they will be completely wrong. But that's what happens is the brain takes in bits of information, fills in the blanks, and makes this conclusion that may or may not be factually based. And it just does it naturally. That's why you can read misspelled words and you can not have to read a whole sentence, a paragraph. You can skim it and get the gist of what's actually taking place. And that's what happens. And then if you throw your biases in there along with it, you really could be completely wrong and won't ask questions. And then you'll just have your confirmation bias of, yep, that I'm right because that's what I'm saying. So that must be true. So I'm thin, so I must not eat. Or I'm thin, so I can't cook because I'm thin. So skinny people don't know how to cook. Thin people don't know how to cook. Well, you can't possibly know how to cook because you don't eat. So, or people assume because I'm thin, I don't eat. It's genetics from my grandfather. I have nothing to do with it. I do eat. And I've been stocky a couple times in my life. I just have to consume the amount of a 6'2", 200-pound man in order for me to put on weight. And I get tired of chewing. All right. And then to challenge yourself and help others. So when you use challenging yourself and helping others, you get rid of this conformity bias. Now, why would someone else want to have conformity bias as well? It's because in theory, it keeps you safe. It keeps you safe. You get to live in your nice little fear zone with the rest of your little fear mongers, and it allows you the ability to not have to go outside of yourself. This is our community, and this is what we believe. And what happens is you can't grow from that. I am originally from Detroit. When I grew up in Detroit, we had an African American mayor, African American chief of police, African American principal, director of Department of Education, the school board, head of the school board, and it was just African American everywhere you go, everywhere you go. And then I went to basic training in the summer of June of 1990, and I realized that the world is not African American. And I came back like, ooh. So yeah, this right here ain't what's the rest out there. And as a result of that, when I went to the Army, I stayed away. I was gone after I graduated from college for 10 years, and I came back, and people told me I changed. There's just some people tried to call me a sellout. That wasn't a good conversation for them at all. And so they wanted me to stay, but I never wanted to stay. I showed y'all my picture, my 5th grade photo of me with the suit. It's on the wall. Because some of y'all might not have seen this. So give me a second. Hopefully I do not knock. So this is me on my 5th grade photo in the hood with my tweed suit on and my tootie ponytail. So we can see that I was not of that environment. I did not want to be a part of that environment. I was not conforming. You was not going to get, and that was 1983, 84. So we had a couple people on Dynasty with some suits on, but little girls in the 5th grade wasn't putting on whole tweed suits with pleated skirts and white tights and black velvet ballerina flats. That wasn't happening. And people have wanted me. Oh, you're going to be an officer? No, you need to be enlisted. We come from a long line of enlisted. Well, I'm about to break that trend. So think about it right now and be honest. Is there anything that you are currently experiencing in life and you're having conformity bias? Are you conforming to something for the sake of, I don't know why you would do it, but if you are, be honest right here, right now, tell the truth that you might be conforming in a relationship, at work, in a religious affiliation organization, with your sorors, with your bros, to be in anything. And then we're going to do word of the day. Not really now. Not at the moment. I would say that sometimes I feel like I'm conforming when I'm at appointments with my daughter because I introduced myself as D. And we had this set up on purpose because of my strong command presence when she first started 4 years ago, that people would just keep asking me and keep asking me. So we said, well, don't tell them you're Dr. Donna, BD, so that she had the ability to develop and grow, and people would then see her as the expert instead of me. And so now I'm at the point where she's 4 years in business, introducing myself. Now I say I'm her mom, but then I don't feel like I'm me. But then I go and say, well, do I need to be me at her appointment while I'm holding her accountable to learn how to run her business and treat employees and customers? So I do vacillate back and forth with that does Dr. Donna need to go to these appointments, or is it okay in this instance for her to shine? But then am I losing my luster by letting her by not being myself? So this is something that I will continue to visit this year. And then do I need to be saying at appointment when they say your name is Dr. Donna? Because as soon as Dr. Donna shows up, people go, oof, they get a little bit intimidated by it. Oh my goodness. And then now, they're fixing their shirt and explaining why the house is dirty. And sometimes they do that and I say I'm D. So that would be the only thing that can come to my remembrance. So it says that there are 8 people on here, I believe. Okay, there we go. Underbidding jobs. I don't know why I keep doing it. You keep doing it, Lola. My daughter did that. And Nola, if you want to chime in, when she first started out, she was $15 an hour. And she actually had skills at $15 an hour. And it took her forever, in my mind, to get to $30 an hour. And then $50 an hour, she was having trouble saying it. And so what's happening is we're places all the time where men have no problem saying, yeah, that's gonna be $5,000 and we only take cash. And so it's just it's culturally, it's your work is being seen as inferior sometimes, or you feel like, wow, I'm taking, and my daughter's whole point was, in this economy at this time, people already moving, and now I'm charging, and I had to explain to her, so one-time expense is a bed, then I'm going to see you again, and you can't keep putting this stuff together in a half an hour and making $20 an hour. You're not going to be profitable. She didn't want to price gouge, and so she had to find the sweet spot of where is her profitability for what she's doing, the time, the driving, and all of that to get to it. And then where are you asking for too much? And her skill set is so advanced now that yesterday's appointment she put together, and she can tell you what was the second appointment. I never even seen that piece of equipment before. It's exercise equipment. And I always go to the car after we're done. She finishes out the transactions. And she said that the couple, before they even came in the room, had already gave her a tip, and they hadn't even seen what she'd done. It looks too pristine. It was elite work, and it was worth the cost. Yeah, it was a hydro row is what it was. And so it was one of those, a rowing machine. And yeah, it took her less than an hour to put it together. So now, and then if you think about it, there's this joke of a plumber was coming to fix a pipe or something, and he charged the people, I forgot the dollar amount. And the people were like, you charged me this much money, and all you did was hit a pipe. And the plumber said, yeah, but I knew which pipe to hit. So you're paying for the expertise. If something goes wrong, this person is there to put it together correctly and to make sure that if you have any problems. Oh yeah, and I forgot that. So and before that, we did 4 cabinets, open storage cabinets at an office, at a center for speaking and child development, and 3 filing cabinets in 4 hours and 15 minutes. So I forgot about that appointment as well. And so people are paying for your expertise. People are paying for the event something goes wrong because you have the tools in your car. She's a Lowe's pro, so if we have to go to Lowe's and grab something, so that's what they're paying, their total customer experience. We clean up the room, we take care of the trash, and we set everything up. So when you start factoring in all of that, that's why you can't underbid. And it's about worth too. So check your worth and decide and determine if you believe that it's worth a lot or not. So how much is it worth? And when you know that you're the only person that can do that, or one of a few people that can do it, then that's what you start to do. So check your biases about your conformity and what it is that you are conforming to and why. Because no unaccountable, here's what I will say. Unaccountable people are exhausting. If you ever find yourself exhausted, check the unaccountable people in your life. Because we had 2 accountable clients yesterday, and so even though that was a lot of work, it was not a draining day, other than the physicality of the work of assembling those items. But you could have one client with one bed and leave and be like, God, this took forever. Unaccountable people make you feel bad. They make you feel bad. If you're feeling good and you talk to an unaccountable person, you're going to feel bad. You're just going to feel bad and drained because of their weak working memory, because of them having hijacked amygdalas. It just makes you feel bad. And there is no oxytocin moments. None of that is taking place because they feel bad. So they don't want to change. They don't want to grow. They don't want new information. They just want to sit in their comfort zones, sit and sulk, and do absolutely nothing but make you feel bad so that they can feel better about you feeling bad. And it's not an even exchange. And that's why I say you can't be with them. If you think about any time that you've had to conform, no real leader is going to tell you to conform. It's not going to happen. I don't care. You understand? Like I said, I don't care if you follow religious practice, you don't. You have a higher power, you don't. Do you hold yourself personally accountable day in and day out to be your best? And if you do, cool. If you don't, go away. So all of these biases that we're talking about, this was number 2, is they're there for you to understand why people have so many different, because what is limiting people to stop them from holding themselves personally accountable? And if you are forcing people to conform, guess what you can't do with your brain? Become your best. You can't become your best and force people to conform at the same time. It's impossible. And why are you doing it? Fear. I don't want to grow. I don't want to be different. And I want everybody around me to be the same so I can be comfortable. Because if we're all the same, then we're not going to hold each other personally accountable. We're not going to do it. So we're not going to do it at all. I thought another comment came up. So this is why you have to pay attention to what other people are doing and know that it's neurological. So going forward, if you hear somebody, if you find yourself agreeing with people and you don't really agree with them, you can say, hold up, this is confirmation bias. Why am I doing this? Oh, I must want to be liked. I must want to be loved. I'm trying to fit in. I don't want to be ostracized or judged, because you may speak up and now everybody's talking about you and making you feel bad. because you got to stay with the status quo. You got to keep the alpha happy, and that's no bueno. All right, so before we get out of here, there are two things. The word of the day, because I didn't know how this was going to work, so I'm just going to give you the word of the day, the meaning, and then give you the antonym as well as the synonym for it so you can use the word of the day. So the word of the day is taint, Taint, and it means to contaminate or pollute. Now, the synonym for it is stigma. The antonym that I'm using is strength. So what you're not going to allow unaccountable people to do is to taint anything that you're doing. So you want to have strength. If you find yourself having a stigma to what you're doing, they're trying to taint it, you're going in the opposite direction. And you're saying, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to taint what I'm doing. But the opposite of that is strength. So if someone says something, does something, I get it. You believe that by tainting this, you're going to weaken what I'm doing, but I'm a real leader and I'm holding myself personally accountable. So I'm just going to strengthen what I'm doing. I'm going to double down. If you think it's a bad idea, it got to be a phenomenal idea because you aren't accountable and your judgment is skewed because you're not even using your frontal lobe for what it was designed to do. So that's the word of the day. Use the word of the day 5 or more times today. And you can use the synonym or the antonym as well because now you're using 3 different words to describe situations. Yes, taint, Taint. That is correct. I don't know if I can, what happens if I press this button? Oh my goodness. I just found the poll button. Start a poll, start a Q&A. We're going to have to look at that tomorrow. Oh my goodness. All from the plus sign. Woo. Okay. I'm excited. All right. That's funny. Okay. And then we have math. So get your math ready. Get your pen and paper out if you didn't already have it ready. We're coming around third. The only thing I don't really like about this is because they're telling me how long. Yes, taint and strength. So yes. So if they're trying to put a stigma on you, that was fun to see. I am such a nerd. I am such a nerd. Like, what? My daughter, when we're at home, I find a new button. I find a new button. I'm like, oh, it's on and popping now. Look at this lens. I get excited. It's the little things that mean so much. Okay, so get your math ready, your paper, pen, pencil, and paper out. I'm going to give you, let me move my 5th grade photo, protect little Dr. Donna over there. So I got to get my clock out. And here we go. You're going to do some mental math over here. And we are ready to go. You're going to have 30 seconds to solve this math problem. I'm going to give it to you twice. And then you're going to give me the answer. It is 6 times 3 divided by 9 plus 5 minus 8. 6 times 3 divided by 9 plus 5 minus 8. 30 seconds on the clock. Twenty seconds has passed. 3, 2, 1, time. Okay. Anybody else putting their answer up before I give the answer? One, two, three, four. Okay. So the answer is -1. 6 times 3 is 18. Divided by 9 is 2. Plus 5 is 7. Minus 8 is -1. And the reason why I let it be a negative answer is because I have a point. You can do a lot of work to multiply and do everything to your life. And then you have one unaccountable person in your life. And next thing you know, you operating in the negative. You did all that. Started out with 18 and now you're at -1 because of one person. One person could leave you at a deficit for your day, for your week, for your month, for your year. And that is the reason why you can't have unaccountable people in your life. The more you learn about your brain and why people do what they do, it gives you a strategic advantage to understand why you got to keep doing what it is that you're doing. Because I'm focused on neurological. It's neurological. It's neurological. I got stuck, then started laughing, saying that, Dr. Donna. Did you? Okay. You talking about laughing at me because I was so excited about the doggone poll questions in the Q&A? Um, yeah, so I'm excited about this format over here. I feel a sense of peace. I mean, nobody's like, yeah, let's go over here and see what they're talking about on the live. Got 5 answers. Ain't that amazing? So I tell you what, higher power will do for you what you can't do for yourself. And so yeah, it's quite pleasant over here. It's quite peaceful, it's calm. I have God just let me have a poll button and a Q&A. Look at that. Oh, in reference to the math question. Got it. So I believe that this is a very value added experience. So one door closes and another door opens, and that's how that goes. I would also like to say that it didn't take as much time for me to prepare for today's live. I was done by like 3:30 preparing for it. That -1. Yes, in reference to the math question. I understand. So I was done by 3:30. Preparing for the live, got all this information, and it was just like this weight had been lifted off of me. So I had endured 439 days of TikTok lives in that format, and now we're over here. And I like the fact that it can save and it has its own functionality. I mean, if TikTok comes back, like I said, I will do the poll question challenges over there because people still need to learn how to be personally accountable. So I will say I'm on the popular platforms because personal accountability needs to be there too for the people who don't like coming here. I don't know anybody who has an adversarial relationship with YouTube though. I don't nobody say YouTube, I don't like YouTube. So it's like, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, like, So I don't feel as though people do. The one thing that I will say before we get out of here, thank you for switching platforms. Number one, finding it and the work that you had to do, Kevin, just to get everything set up so that you can be here is the question that I have started asking and will continue to ask is, what did you learn today? And I learned that there is a Q&A and poll question button on YouTube. So, hey. Now I'll just have to see if I have to type the question up while I'm here. That'll be the only thing that you're going to break while I do it. If I could do it ahead of time. And there is this, what is this button? While you're check, I'm just checking out. Oh, I don't want no retouch. Okay. And then now if I flip that button, that will be, and hopefully I don't click y'all out. What is this button? And then the highlight was saved to my channel as a thing. I don't know what that means. Well, I'll see when this is over. I do believe that the camera quality is good. The only thing I wish I could do is flip it so my shirt wasn't backwards, the mirroring. But other than that, everything has a pro and a con, right? But I did learn that there is a poll question button and a QA button. Love discussion, confirmation bias helps me understand some of my experiences with other people at work. Yeah, unaccountable people are always going to talk you into what works best for them. And they don't really care how it lands for you. Not really interested in that because they don't have the working memory or the mental faculties to care beyond themselves. And it's immediate gratification with unaccountable people. They can't really project that far out. If you ask an unaccountable person, what's their 5-year plan? They don't have one. Why? I just got to live in the moment. Why are you worried about 5 years from now? We might not even be here by the end of the year. And they always have this condescending, change isn't always a saber-toothed tiger. That is correct. And that's a cool little, is that a tiger? As the thing. So you got a tiger on your phone. I should check to see if I got a tiger on my phone. In my thing. It is not. Embrace change is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And usually, if you embrace the change, it actually is going to bode well for you at some point in the future. That's what's going to happen. I'll be interested to see. I don't think I'm about to call this Instagram. I don't think that YouTube will cut me off at an hour. I don't know if I have reached the follower amount. I think I got like 2,800 followers on YouTube. So some things I can do, some things I can't do. Because I think really you got to have like 10,000 followers to really get anything of substantiation done here. Stop underbidding. If they don't like my price, walk. Walk with your head held high and your shoulders back and your shoulder blades. Exactly, because that's the same thing my daughter thought. And Nola, if you're still on here, because I know you got to turn in your real leader resources, she thought the same thing. But let me tell you what happened, Lola. she got a better client, because it's that $15 to $30 range. That client that's not a good client. And by the time she hit 35, and then by the time she hit 40 and 50, that's a different the match. And every now and then we'll get a raggedy client at that price point. But if you go over that, because then when you hit $100 an hour, that client thinks they own you. So where is that nice little for what she does? Now your $100 may be $500, but there is a point when the clients are terrible because they're on a budget and they want to make sure they get their money's worth. And then I'm paying you, so I'm not doing anything. We didn't move the boxes. They're in the garage. We got to go. How long is this going to take? So, and it's also the type of thing that needs to be done. So we don't do best of wall units anymore. We don't do PAX closet units because that client is a problem too. So then we found out that it was product based as well as price based. So the two P's. We stay away from that type of group. And it's also the location of where people live. So if they live in the high-rise apartments off the strip, there's two of them right next to each other, the Dean Martin and the Panorama. If you go to the Panorama, those people are nice. You go to the Dean Martin, they're going to be a problem. So yeah, been over 2,000 appointments. And so after each appointment, we do after action reviews and we analyze what's taking place so that if it works, we'll do it again. If it doesn't work, kick rocks. So we're not going to do that. Okay, so I believe overall that this is a very good environment to be in. I feel it's quite pleasant. We didn't have any trolls. We had the right amount of people on here that want to be here. I will continue to let people know that I am live. I did do a video on my other platforms to say that I'm here. I like the fact that it can stay. And so if you happen to miss a day, you can just come back at your leisure, and see what you missed. And so all of that works well. And here's where all my other videos are housed. So it makes sense that the lives would be here without me having to download, upload, put it in my phone and all of that. Just go straight to the platform. So I'm grateful for this TikTok break. The final thing that I will say is that, well, it's actually on Dean Martin. It is the Dean Martin, and it is on Dean Martin. And yes, that is a different group. And I mean, they are literally, you can look out the Dean Martin and look at the Panorama. They are walking across the parking lot, and that's how close they are to each other. And they are different, whole different tenant, whole different personality, whole different valet system. The concierge is different, everything. We've only had one person that was a problem in the Panorama. And yeah, that's it. But at the doggone Dean Martin, every time. It's been a problem. They are a problem. They are a problematic group. Definitely. It's like back in the day when your auntie had that container with her cigarettes in it and her keys and her money and her lottery tickets. That's the woman you don't want to mess with. They about bad as them. Problems. That's the draining, unaccountable people. So sometimes we say no to what that is, most of the time at this point. Okay, I thank you very much for making the shift for yourself as you learn how to hold yourself personally accountable. Friendly reminder, Darnetta, to follow up on why Damon and your children get a pass, why they get treated differently as you assess what that is taking place. And there was something else, and I just had a brain freeze because I'm hungry. I ate my dinner a little bit early. I went to bed a little bit sooner to make sure I was prepared for today. So now my stomach is growling. I need to take my shower and get out of here. But I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I did order a new brain t-shirt. It'll be here on Tuesday. I found some more. So I will be adding. I have 3 notes to self. Got it. I've more brain t-shirts that I found as well. Again, I just wish that YouTube, because of what happened with TikTok, if it stays or goes, usually apps will then add more things to it, because there was a point when YouTube didn't even have shorts, and now they do. So if they just did that mirroring, if you're listening, Google, YouTube, just add mirroring to it so that my shirt can be correct. That would be great. Thank you all very much. It's a very peaceful, calm existence. I'm happy that I'm over here. It only took 439 days to get to this point. If you're watching on the replay, I will be back every day, God willing, higher power in the universe, 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And now I got to remember how to get out of this live. Yes, everyone have a great day. So I'm going to exit out, and hopefully wait, what is this button? Hold on for a second, y'all. Copy the link. And we'll see what happens. All right, I think it's this X button in the corner. Y'all take care. I'll be back tomorrow. Yes, in the live streaming. Okay.